go ahead and call this meeting of the Moberly City Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Hance, if you'll please call the roll.
Lucas.
Here.
Kimmons.
Here.
McEwen.
Here.
Graff.
Here.
Skubic.
Here. Thank you. You've all seen the agenda for tonight's meeting, March 3rd, 2025. Are there any changes or corrections to the agenda for this evening? Hearing none, do we have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The agenda stands approved as presented. Also in your packets, you should have received the council minutes for February 18th, 2025. Are there any corrections to these minutes? Any changes? Entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes from February 18th.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes approved stand as written. Recognition of visitors, Mr. Bogowski.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Tonight we are joined by Harold Smith and Marilyn Dick, who have some recognitions for the city and the upcoming agenda items. So welcome to both of them.
Welcome. Great to have you guys. Look forward to your presentations later on. I'd like to let anybody in the crowd know that if you'd like to speak or address the council, please come up and see the clerk, grab a green card, fill out your name and your address, and we'll call you up a little bit later on in the meeting, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the council. So see Mrs. Hance, grab a green card, get it filled out, please, and we'll get to you a little bit later on. Communications requests and informational items. We have number 2, a proclamation for AmeriCorps. And we'd like to welcome Mr. Harold Smith to come down, and we'll do the proclamation for you. Okay, sir?
All right. March 9th through the 15th is AmeriCorps Senior Week across the nation. I am the coordinator for the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program. I work with Douglas Community Services out of Hannibal, and one of our longtime partners when it comes to volunteer agencies is SAMC. We've worked with them for a long time, and we are in the business of making sure that the senior volunteers know that they are appreciated. There are many, many agencies, not only SAMC, but many throughout Northeast Missouri that could not do what they do if it were not for the senior volunteers. And the government agency under whose umbrella we operate is AmeriCorps Seniors. They administer not only RSVP, but foster grandparents as well. And as we say, March the 9th through the 15th is AmeriCorps Senior Week, and we submit for the council's consideration a proclamation that Moberly recognizes the 9th through the 15th as AmeriCorps Senior Week. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you to those folks. Next up, we also have another presentation. This presentation is Marilyn Dick from the city of Centralia. I think she has a little special presentation for Shannon.
I do. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Board. Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. My name is Marilyn Dick, City Clerk for City of Centralia. I also serve on the Public Relations Committee for the Missouri City Clerks Finance Officers Association, MOCCFOA. Again, thank you for allowing me to be here with you tonight to recognize Shannon and applaud her for all of her hard work and dedication, commitment to obtaining this designation. I am here to recognize your City Clerk, Shannon Hance, for achieving the designation of Certified Municipal Clerk from the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. This certification requires a lot of hours of education and experience, and Shannon has persevered in achieving this goal. It takes many, many hours of dedication, and it is a really big deal for those in the Clerks Association. It's a very distinguished honor. Everyone is very, very proud of Shannon. The IIMC is made up of over 15,000 members in 14 U.S. and 9 Canadian Municipal Clerks Association who work to provide education that is relevant to city clerks. We also want to thank you as elected officials for supporting Shannon in working toward her certification. It shows that you recognize that the work and the knowledge that she obtained while reaching this milestone is of great benefit to you, other city staff, and all of your citizens. In addition to serving as city clerk, Shannon also currently serves on the Life Member Committee, Circle of Friends Committee, and is the chair of the MOCC FOA Historian Committee. She is a very busy and very valuable lady, but I'm sure you all already know that. Shannon, on behalf of the Missouri City Clerks and Finance Officers Association and the Public Relations Committee and all of your friends and peers in Central Division, I would like to present you with this Certificate of Achievement.
Thank you very much for doing that. We are very lucky to have Miss Shannon, and she does make our lives a whole lot easier. And congratulations, Shannon. Okay, number 4 under communications requests and informational items, a request from Nikki Sonker to host the annual Unfinished Pieces 5K on April 19th, 2025.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we received this request from Nikki Sondeker to host the annual 5K in support of Unfinished Pieces. This is the same route as last year. We did discuss this at work session at the last meeting, and it was recommended to be brought forward to this meeting for approval.
Very good. Any additional discussion from council on this item? We have a motion for the approval of this item.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The Unfinished Pieces 5K has been approved. Number 5, a request from Moberly Area Council on the Arts for a street closure on September 26th through the 27th, 2025 for the 3rd annual Phobia Film Festival at the 4th Street Theater. Sounds scary.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is an event by the Council of the Arts, kind of a celebration of scary movies, as you kind of alluded to. So this is the 3rd year for it. It has grown every year. And consistent with what they requested last year, they are requesting closure of the 100 block of North 4th Street. And this was discussed at work session at the last meeting and was recommended for approval.
Very good. Thank you. Any additional questions regarding this request? Hearing none. Do we have a motion for the approval?
So moved.
We have
Second.
a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The request has been granted. Look forward to having that event back this year. It seems like it's growing considerably each year, so interesting to see what that turns into in the next few years. Next, we've got our consent agenda, which includes items 6 through 8. These items are considered routine and will be adopted with a single vote. Does any council member wish to remove any of the items on the consent agenda for additional discussion? Nope. Do we have a motion for the reading of the consent agenda?
So moved.
A motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. All opposed? First and only reading, please.
Bill number R1784, a resolution authorizing closing of streets and parking lots and public consumption of alcohol for the 2025 Junk Junction event. Bill number R1785, a resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 police vehicles from Moberly Motors pursuant to the purchasing procedure set forth in Section 2-435, subsection 3 of the Moberly City Code. And Bill number R1786, a resolution approving and authorizing a financial assistance agreement with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources for the Long Branch Lake Rate Project to reimburse the city from the multi-purpose Water Resource Fund for the cost of a water and sewer rate study completed in 2024.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions regarding any of the items on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion for the approval of the items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The consent agenda has been approved. Moving on, ordinances and resolutions. Number 9, an ordinance.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have an ordinance repealing ordinance number 9797 and terminating cooperative agreements with Studio Spillman LLC for infill development. It has to be read twice for consideration by title only.
Thank you. We have a motion for the reading of the ordinance. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. All opposed? First reading, please.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 9797 and terminating cooperative agreements with Studio Spillman LLC for infill development.
Thank you. Any additional discussion or questions regarding this particular ordinance? Hearing none. Second reading, please.
An ordinance repealing ordinance number 9797 and terminating cooperative agreements with Studio Spillman LLC for infill development.
Thank you. Actually, I did have one question on this. So I noticed that in the email back to these folks, the email said something like, because your down payment or your $1,000 ultimately had not been paid. Don't we collect that up front on when we do these infill development deals?
Yes, we should.
And I guess it just didn't get collected, or?
I don't recall if this particular one, the reason that they were wanting to terminate was because of the fact that there was a quit claim, they needed a quit claim deed on it because it was a collector.
I see.
But, so I think that they reviewed that and they'd signed the paperwork, we hadn't gotten the payment yet. But
Okay.
In that time frame, they determined that, and that's why they wanted to close that.
Okay. All right, thank you. We have a motion for the approval of the ordinance.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Lucas?
Yes.
Kimmons?
Yes.
McEwen?
Yes.
Graff?
Yes.
Skubic?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance has been repealed. Number 10, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution authorizing the sale of surplus city property by auction on Purple Wave and ask that it be read once for consideration.
Thank you. We have a motion for the reading of the resolution. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? First and only reading, please.
A resolution authorizing the sale of surplus city property by auction on Purple Wave.
Thank you. Any additional questions or discussion from council? We have a motion for the approval of the resolution.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution has been approved. Number 11, a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Moberly, Missouri to pay expenses due between February 13th of 2025 and February 27th of 2025 in the amount of $557,660.87. I ask that it be read once for passage. Thank you.
We have a motion for the reading of the resolution. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. First and only reading, please.
A resolution appropriating money out of the treasury of the city of Moberly, Missouri to pay expenses due between February 13, 2025 and February 27, 2025 in the amount of $557,660.87.
Thank you. I hereby certify that there's sufficient money standing to the credit of the city of Moberly, Missouri, unappropriated in the funds identified in this resolution to meet the requirements of this resolution. City Treasurer Allison Boyd. Do we have a motion for the approval of the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution has been approved. Under the heading, anything else to come before the council, consideration to appoint Dale Hughes to the Board of Adjustment to complete the term of Craig Samp, who retired in November of 2023.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, last meeting at the work session, we brought this forward for consideration. This is a vacancy we have on Board of Adjustment from Craig Sam's retirement. We do have this application from Dale Hughes, who has quite a bit of experience on planning and zoning in the city of Centralia, so seem to have an interest in pursuing this as well.
Thank you. Any council member want to add? Have any questions? Nope. Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve Mr. Hughes to the Board of Adjustment?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Welcome to the Board of Adjustment, Mr. Hughes. Public comments. Is there anyone that would like to come and address the council? Now would be the time. Okay. Seeing none, we'll consider a motion to adjourn to a work session, followed by a closed session to discuss the status of personnel and negotiated contract matters. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion. Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and seconded. Roll call, please.
Lucas?
Yes.
Timmons?
Yes.
McEwen?
Yes.
Graff?
Yes.
Skubic?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Council meeting is adjourned. We will move directly into our work session. Number one, an ordinance approving a third addendum to intergovernmental cooperation agreement for the operation of a farmer's market at the Fennel Complex and providing further authority.
Mr. Mayor, this is the third year continuation of this agreement. It is a three-party agreement between the city, the Community Improvement District, and the Health Department. The funding comes from the Community Improvement District. They pay $2,500 to the Health Department to fund marketing for the downtown farmers market that the Health Department puts on. This has been another growing event, and we also waive the rental fee of the Fennel building to accommodate the farmers market. So that's the city participation in this. That is paid through the Community Improvement District.
Thank you. Council have any questions? Any objection to moving this forward to the next council meeting? Hearing none, we'll move this one forward. Number two, an ordinance authorizing the city manager of Moberly, Missouri to execute a cooperative agreement for car cruise events at the Fennel Complex with Moberly Area Chamber of Commerce and the Downtown Moberly Community Improvement District.
This is again another renewal of a multi-year relationship. It is changing slightly this year. The Chamber of Commerce used to run this agreement through Community Betterment, but is using just Moberly Area Chamber of Commerce this year. That was their choice. We didn't see any issue with that. We do provide through the Community Improvement District money for the bands and musical acts that perform at the car cruises, as well as a small amount of marketing dollars there. I believe $250 per event.
It's been exciting to watch this event grow and continue to be something that people come from a lot of other communities to enjoy. Any questions or comments from council? Any objection to moving this one forward to the next council meeting? Okay, we will move number two forward. Number three, consideration of two appointments to the Historic Preservation Commission.
We do have two terms that are needing appointment. One is Jimmy O'Loughlin's term, and he has indicated that he would like to be reappointed, so we are recommending that. And then an opening from Ashley Apel's position, which expired in February of 2025, and Libby Maddox has put in an application to be considered for that position.
Will the ones that are requesting to be reappointed, are they active in those on those boards? Well, yeah, she would be new, but the renewal. We're trying to put people on boards that participate and are involved in various things. So I get that ultimately is the reason I asked the question.
He is a full-time employee, obviously, but any kind of connection, but we have to have an architect or engineer position on there to meet the criteria of the board, so.
Okay. So you would suggest we continue on with the application?
It's good for reference, if we can't attend, we can follow up and try to reach him ahead of time and get information or recommendation from him, even if he's not able to attend the meeting.
Very good. Any questions from the council? Any objections to moving these two appointments forward to the next council meeting? Okay. We will move these two forward. Number four, consideration of an appointment to the Tourism Advisory Commission.
Yes, the Tourism Advisory Commission, the term of Jonique Barnett has come up for renewal, and she has indicated her willingness to be reappointed. She is the manager of the Comfort Inn, and according to the bylaws of the Tourism Commission, that is a group that needs to be represented. So she does fill an important role on that board for us.
While I recognize that that is important, I ask the same question. Does she participate and is she involved in the group?
Our meetings are more quarterly, but she's there majority of the time.
I was gonna say, she's there when I'm there.
Okay,
I'd agree.
okay, very good. Any objection or any other questions to this appointment to the tourism board? Or reappointment, I'm sorry. Okay, any objection to moving this forward to the next council meeting? Okay, we will move that one forward. We now have a list of infill housing. So number 5, receipt of a proposal for an infill housing at 928 West End Place.
So this is for Spartacus. This is a double lot. At one time in the past, we always held this lot off because drainage kind of came through that area, but I met with utilities. They have no plans to address stormwater through that. They have an inlet that's just a little bit to the east of that location. They feel like will serve their purposes, so we're going to go ahead and release that for development.
Tom, how are these advertised? How are they put out? I know that and we'll get to these, but some of them are going to obviously the same people over and over. So how do we advertise this to individuals?
So initially, when we get these parcels, when they first come up and they're available to us, we advertise them and put them out for public proposals. And you've probably seen that before. We have 10, 12 properties. So once we put that out for public,
Where do they go out to?
we advertise them and we notify other developers.
Where? I mean, where do we advertise?
Newspaper, face social media. In the past, we've done it on there, and we also send out directly to people who have previously submitted proposals on that. So I know we've gotten some from several different developers in the past, and so initially, but it's typical that unless a developer is ready to act on it, they don't usually jump on it. So a lot of times we'll contact somebody's interested, but they've got other things in the fire. So most of the time when we put out for proposals, even when we notify all those developers, it's not uncommon for us to get maybe 1 or 2 proposals at that time. If they're not ready to move, they're not ready to apply. And then like you'll get times like this where you'll get a load just to come in. Almost all the developers that build houses in the area are familiar with the fact that we have lots available, and that list is always available. So once they've been out where everybody's had a equal shot for making a proposal, after that, we've just put them out. At that point, it's on first come, first basis. So if somebody walks in and says, I'm ready to build 4 houses, and here's what lots do you have, and they give us these. Some of these lots have been on the list for some time now, so and have been overlooked. So, I mean, it's not like
Sure.
others haven't had a chance at these.
Just wanted to make sure that the process was fair to some of the bidders or some of the folks that might be interested that aren't familiar with the process, and that we were putting it out there where everybody had a chance.
I don't think anybody that builds houses in town is not familiar with it. We give out lists all the time to builders and developers, of what's available.
Fair enough. Anybody else have any questions? No. Okay, so as far as the project here at 928 West End Place, is there any objection to moving this one forward to the next council meeting?
I have a question for Tom. This one's a duplex, is that right?
Yes.
So with gravel parking, do we put any sort of parameters on what they build, whether it's multifamily or single family, or how is that up to them?
So if it's within, for example, if we have a proposal, we have multiple proposals on when we put it out like that, and we have 2 or 3 proposals, and one would be a duplex or a rental, we would have stronger influence on owner-occupied type structures. However, if there's after the fact like that, and this is the only person proposing on that, whatever residential would fit within the zoning district is typically allowed, as long as it meets the criteria of that zoning district. The gravel parking you mentioned is wouldn't be allowed on the front. So if they come off the street or anywhere in the front on a front driveway, you'd have to have a paved driveway. So gravel is only allowed if you are coming off a rear parking in an alley only. That's gravel, if that was a question too.
Okay.
Do you feel that there's, or I guess have you thought about any way that we could bundle some of these lots together and try to recoup some of the demo costs that we put into this? Obviously, it's relatively expensive to tear a lot of these down. We've had that discussion before, but do you ever thought about putting them into a package and possibly being able to sell them that way? Would that work?
From what I've seen, typically builders aren't ready to, because we put a timeline on these. Typically, where we've in the past tried to bundle several that people weren't able to get to, they kind of use these as gaps between their better paying projects and developments. And so I haven't seen any desire for somebody to take on a large chunk of them. If we have ones in better locations, and what I mean is a prime location, I mean, we have somewhere we've done, I don't want to just pick specific spots, but there are ones that are obviously going to be a lot more desirable. Some of these ones right here have been passed over frequently because of the tight lots, not, really great quality housing around some of them. So, I mean, I don't think you're going to get much as far as value as return on that. Now, we have some that are coming up where we have $22,000, $21,000 demos that are going to be bigger lots. And I feel those lots certainly could be marketed.
Yeah.
If you want to look that route. But again, they're still not in wonderful areas. And so, I mean, they're not going to bring the money that you're going to see out of a.
No, but even if you could get $2,000-3,000 out of it, I mean, it's still kind of something that we could put back towards the infill project. So just something that I think we can talk about a little bit later on. So I don't think that applies to particularly anything we're talking
There
about
are
here.
a lot
So
of them that you could possibly do that with. I don't know about bulk side, but I think you could put some of them out there. But on these, I mean, I think the real benefit to the community is the fact
Right.
that you're getting an otherwise garden space or lot that we have to mow and foregoing ongoing costs, and having a development that's actually recouping money in the fact of utilities and property taxes.
very good. Thank you. Any objection to moving number 5 forward to the next council meeting for 928 West End Place? Okay, we'll move that one forward. Number 6, request of proposal for infill housing at 1010 Concannon Street.
Same kind of a thing. This is same builders wanting to. We've seen a lot of new infill houses on there. I think I can't recall off the top of my head. I'm thinking this is a single family home, and that's mostly what the next 4 or 5 are. And so they've done a lot of infill homes, and they're doing some in town. And I think we'll see more development on Concannon as we get more of the houses taken out.
Okay. Any questions? Any objections to moving this one forward? Okay, we'll move this one forward. Number 7, request for infill housing, 901 Franklin Street. Anything different with any of these? I'll just go through them if there's
All
nothing
the
different.
remainders are pretty much the same thing. They're going to be very similar, I believe, on the housing, same developer.
Okay.
So, and we've seen good results in here on some other recent builds.
Okay. Any questions? Any objections to moving that one forward? Number 8, receive a proposal for infill housing at 612 Franklin Street. Any objections? Any objection to moving that one forward? Number 9, receive a proposal for infill housing at 714 Franklin Street. You can own the whole block. Any objections to moving this forward?
We'll mention the concentration of new homes in an area, just like
absolutely,
a
sure.
bad apple in a barrel. You put in new housing, it just seems to inspire the neighbors to improve as well.
Okay, we will move that one forward to the next council meeting. And number 10, receive a proposal for infill housing at 817 Franklin Street. Anything any different with that one?
I don't think so.
Okay. Any questions, objections from council on that one? Any objections to moving that one forward? Okay. Number 11, a resolution accepting the bid and authorizing contracting with Collins and Herman, Inc. for fabrication and installation of wayfinding signage.
Again, this is the wayfinding project we've been talking about for a long time. There was some delays due to the fact of original costs were unachievable. So we had a lot of work to go work with Arcturus has worked with the contractors extensively to get the cost and design down to a manageable point. And that's what you see now. And then there was some question as far as contracting through Arcturus or directly. It was a 10% cost savings or more to contract directly with Collins and Herman. So as you see, their price is $154 and some change. There were two options. One is for $10,200 to go with the powder coated signposts, and so that's instead of the galvanized. I think that's a little more classy and attractive. And then the other thing was the powder coat into the back of the signs or painting them, which instead of having the unfinished aluminum backing, you'd have the black finish, more of a attractive sign, I think.
What do these signs include? I know that there's CID is going to pay for some downtown, Park's going to pay for some. What percentage of the project is this?
It's basically 20, 40, 40. So I think, if I recall correctly, I think downtown was 40 and that CID was 40, or excuse me, SID was 40. What was the other 40%? And we originally were going to do out of street department, but it was
Tourism.
tourism, yes. So it's tourism, CID is 40, and then 20 is parks, I believe.
That sounds right.
But this price is for the entire project. This isn't.
This
I know
is
we were
everything, all components.
everything we've originally
Yeah.
talked about
Yeah.
before.
So originally was, I think, in the $400,000 range, so we have had to carve it down a considerable amount. So this doesn't include the large entryway signs, that we have out there. Those the Moberly signs are out there, so we took those out until we can, because we really weren't moving the needle on what they were proposing on those over what we have. I don't think the sign size, and I don't think most people would recognize a significant change over what we have. So I think you all want to see it more elaborate on that. So this will kind of gets it down to, it's getting people around town to show them some things in town and then identifying those different projects that are not readily identifiable.
I know we've budgeted for this the last, I think, 3 years, and obviously didn't spend any of those funds, but we didn't carry any of that over each year, correct? We just continued to budget the same amount.
That is correct, yeah.
But I thought we were originally going to do this in steps. There was going to be a phase 1 and a phase 2.
We contemplated that, but the problem was there's so much internal logic with these signs. This one leads you to that place. And it became kind of this, web of, okay, how do you break it into phases? And there was really no effective way to do that and still have the value of wayfinding signage.
Another big factor was also the mobilization to get them here to make the signs. And, if you see cost increases over the next couple of years, doing other components, it was a better value to do it at one lump shot.
Okay. So if we go ahead and just move this forward, but take the next 2 weeks to try to figure out if we want to do the galvanized and the back, that shouldn't be a problem, correct? No. I don't particularly know what that looks like.
If you look at the timeline, I know you probably haven't got that deep into the weeds, but there's a 3-month build time on these once we say go. So
okay,
we need to know by Thursday before the meeting in order to have it on the agenda.
Is everyone good with that, moving it forward, and then we can kind of decide if we want to spend the extra money on the black poles and the rest of it?
Mayor, what was the budgeted amount for it? Do we know?
Well, it's not on the document, so I don't remember offhand. Does anybody remember?
I think it's under budget, but
It would have been higher because when we built out the budget last year, that was when we were still operating before the value engineering. So although I don't have an exact number, this number would be less than the budgeted number.
Thank you.
Any objections to moving that one forward to the next council meeting? Okay. We will move that one forward and look forward to seeing that project come to fruition. Number 12, draft task order number 22 is issued relative to, in accordance with the master agreement, herefore referred to as the agreement for professional service between the city of Moberly, which is the client, and Bartlett and West, which is the consultant, as dated March 3rd, 2020, and a further modified herein.
this is a modification of the original grant for the South Moberly Cost Share Project for the acquisition or use of Bartlett and West to help supply manpower and to get the easements completed for that project in a timely manner. We just had just not been able to get those completed. And this would be a $30,000, 877 upper limit on that to get that work done. We're going to provide information. We've already sent out some things, so I think we can trim that down a little bit, but that's the not to exceed amount. And I've talked to MoDOT, and they won't reimburse us up front, but they will give us credit on our 50% cost share match total in the project for what we spend on that. So if we spend $30,000, they'll give us $30,000 of credit on our 50% matching funds.
Okay, so we're ultimately not, if I understand you correctly, we're not out anything by.
We would be out 50%. So
out 50%.
We right now, the whole project is a 50-50 project, whatever the costs are. So what, but if we're doing, if they had, let's just say, for every $100,000 they would spend, we'd have $100,000 of max, but they would give us this credit towards those expenses on that, so towards our match.
So I guess my question would have to come down to, I know we have a special projects person who I know has been out for a little while, but isn't that kind of his goal?
Well, we're with him being sick, and we haven't had the ability to get those done. Yes, normally he's collected on several projects for us, but we're behind the 8 ball on right now. We need to get them done.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Any objections to moving this one forward to the next council meeting? Okay. Number 13, a resolution approving a new street name and authorizing the erection of a new sign.
This is we have Ritter's going out there in that large location. That's, if you're not familiar with that, that's that island out there in the middle between North Moberly and that road that goes up to the county road up there. It's a concrete street. It's maintained by MoDOT. It really has no designation. It's just kind of been a connector. So we had to give it a formal address, and so asked for other alternatives. But we, like the Seneca Spur out by Thomas Motors, we just went with the North Moberly Spur right there. You're not going to see a lot of addresses to that. Most of them are going to, Ritter's owns all the property on that side, and the other ones would possibly be an address coming out of the industrial park. But if we ever extend the road in there, it'll probably have another road name that it'll be addressed to. So,
okay. Any questions? Any objections to moving that forward? I have no questions on that one, Tom. Number 14, Midwest Custom truck lease agreement.
Yes, this is that property that we received from MoDOT several months back that we put out for proposals, if you guys recall that. We received the 2 proposals. One was from Midwest Custom Truck, Darren Hardwick, and another was for a coffee shop that we decided was not a great fit for that lot. Mr. Hardwick is going to be building out on the lot a trailer sales and business. So he's going to be clearing out a tree, filling in the low spot, putting a fence around it, putting in lighting, and putting in a concrete pad so customers have a safe place to park. So doing some valuable improvements out there. We didn't feel it would be looked upon very favorably to turn around and sell it to him after MoDOT gave it to us for free. So that's why this lease structure is in front of you. So basically it's a 5-year lease with some renewals options in it. But the initial 5 years is protected to allow him to get his new business venture going. So,
any questions from council? Any objections to moving this one forward? Okay. Number 14, we will move forward. Number 15, the City of Moberly Public Works Department requests proposals for grant writing and administrative services to assist in a proposed project financed with $300,000 in community development block grants. Funds for the demolition of 2 derelict concrete grain elevators located at 107 North Alt Street.
So this is a request for qualification, so it's not a proposal. So on consultants, we select based on their qualifications, experience, and familiarity with the project. We received 2 proposals. One was from an outside, I can't think of the lady's name off the top of my head, but we received it. She's a grant writer and has a lot of experience. And the other one was from Mark Twain Council of Governments, who we work with extensively. They're familiar with it. One did quote a price in there, and there was a question on that one. The outside was $30,000, and the Mark Twain did not, which we typically don't evaluate on that, but I did check on that, and the grant has an administrative cap of $10,000 and 4% of the total project. So even if we were awarded $300,000, if that was the project that that would be $10,000 plus $12,000 of other money. So I'm not sure how the $30,000 would apply. You know, there's not really an easy way until we have a number to know what that could be. But Mark Twain did confirm that they would probably be estimating on what we were projecting, that their fee would be somewhere in the $20,000 or less range. But again, you don't evaluate them on fees, but I just want to give you a reference.
Okay. Any questions from council? Nope. Objections to moving that one forward? Okay. Move that one forward to the next council meeting. Number 16, receipt of bids for banking services for the city of Moberly.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we put the banking services out for bid here in early February, and we got responses from 5 banks, 2 of them no bid. The recommendation is to go back with Central Bank. We've been with them for about 10 years now, and to go with the option 1, the fixed interest rate. The reason we're recommending that is under the current banking contract, we were under this variable rate scenario. And a couple of years ago, or 3 years ago roughly, the interest rates tanked. So that ended up costing us in the neighborhood, I'm estimating, a couple of $100,000, $175,000, $200,000 in interest. So when it rebounded, we started making that again. Looking at the difference in the rates here, we're currently at about, 3.77 versus 3.3. So we're figuring, why take the gamble again? Let's take the sure thing.
Makes sense. Have to refer to our current banker on the council. What do you think?
Well, if we knew what rates we're going to do, it'd make it a lot easier to decide. But yeah,
That's right.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, we just think with the new administration, everything's really up in the air.
Sure.
So we really don't know where Fed rates are going to go. So we feel a lot better just taking the surefire thing.
Very good.
And
How long is that fixed for?
For the term of the contract, so it will be 4 years, and also into the 5th year option as well.
Okay.
And again, the top 2 bids were from Central and First State, and there was no fees at all.
Any additional questions from council? Any objections to moving this one forward? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hodge.
Yes, sir.
Number 17. Number 17, the supplemental services agreement from Lochner for the 9 to 10 unit nested T-hanger construction services contract.
This is additional construction services work from Lochner, who is our airport consultant, and this is for we're getting ready to put out for bids for the nested T-hangers for the airport out there, and this would be, we have an optional 9 or 10 unit structure. As the prices are over $100,000 on that, we do have to have an independent fee analysis. So we'll be getting that lined up soon, but they're trying to get this thing to meet deadlines on some bidding and some pricing stuff. We're trying to get this turned around by the end of March.
This really isn't relative to how come our packets don't have the account number and the available budgets in them? It's just a mistake.
So this one, I can do that, but we don't have, as far as listing the line item, this is a 90% grant funded program. So we budget like the 10% match out of the Transportation Trust Fund. So there's not really I can show the whole project, but it's about $2 million.
It's not just yours; it's all of them in the packet. So that's where my question is. Any additional questions for Tom? Any objections to moving this one forward? Okay, move this one forward to the next council meeting. Number 18, landfill monitoring, well abandonment and installation.
We have several wells out there that are two specifically that are have been compromised due to they've just not developed anymore. And we also have the water system out there is not a uniform groundwater path, so we don't have an upgrading or downgrading. It's all in old mine spoils, so it's a mess. And so the wells have been deemed out not compliant, and we've been waiting on it. We submitted a plan probably 3 years ago to DNR as far as what we want to do, take these old wells out of service. We'd actually taken a total of 3 wells out of service and put in a new well where they've agreed to on that, and just got approval back in January. So we have gotten prices from Midwest Environmental Consultants, and I had $45,000 budgeted for it. They're saying a total cost of $28,000 to do the work, get them in place, and so we'll have to get those.
What are the wells required for?
Groundwater monitoring. So so when you have a landfill, you are supposed to have upgrading and downgrading wells so that you can make sure that the water coming through and passing under is not impacted by the landfill, when it leaves the site. But again, where we have a trapped perched water air sources out there, we don't really have a true groundwater passes through. It's all in just old disturbed mine soil. So
Okay. Any other questions? Any objections to moving this one forward to the next council meeting? Okay, that's it. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That concludes our work session. Thank you all very much.